here we are again. It's your boy Drew, just doing a little life update here, just so I can keep track of things as they happen, or whenever I can look back and be like, "Oh, that was cool, that point in my life." Probably already said that on a previous video, but I made a little list of new things since the last video that I posted. I think the last video I posted was probably the Philippines, wasn't it, Nicole? Yeah, Philippines. And then I kind of went back and forth because I got a lot more views on those videos than I was expecting. And so then I was like, oh God, I need to start catering to the audience on this, and that threw my whole routine off, because then I was worried about it being good instead of just recording. The point of these videos is, I don't know, it'd be cool to give somebody some kind of information about freelancing, or whatever, if it would help them in some way, then that would be cool. Or if it's just like, hey, I went on this cool trip and I want to be able to look back on that, and if anybody watches it and is entertained, then that would be cool as well. However, I can't make that the priority, because then I'll worry about it not being good enough, and then I just won't post. So I just need to just record updates. Maybe I'll have a cool idea doing some kind of aesthetic video of us going camping and all that stuff. But anyway, so life update. We were living in St. Louis for 5 years or so. Then we decided we were going to move to Colorado, and we've been talking about that for a long time, and I think everything finally lined up to where we could make it happen. So now we're here. Now we're in Colorado. We're back in an apartment, which is a weird change again. We went from basically renting apartments every place we lived in, right? Every place we lived in. It's all right. It's okay. You don't got to close it. It's fine. There's helicopters that fly over top here all the time. We're right next to a big hospital. So there's like a trauma helicopter that flies directly over our apartment all the time. But yeah, it was a big change going from apartments to a house. A really awesome change, obviously. And then getting used to a house, and now being back in an apartment. You have all the neighbors and, people who are loud or inconsiderate, or they leave dog poop everywhere, whatever. And, that's just part of the deal, and it's fine. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with living in an apartment, especially if we're just trying to figure out what we're going to do next, But we're in a really cool area out here. We're really close to everything, all the things that we want to go do, and people we want to visit, and places we want to visit, and whatever. So that's working out really well. We did not sell the house. I decided that I wanted to rent the house out to like travel nurses and stuff like that. So for like midterm, rather than like an Airbnb type thing, which is like a short-term rental or a long-term rental where somebody signs like a whole year lease or whatever. I didn't really want to do that. And it poses a little bit more of a risk, because, we might have a month where somebody doesn't rent, and we did have one already where we have to pay for rent and we have to pay for our mortgage. But for the most part, it's working out pretty well. Our tenants have been pretty good. There's a couple little things that we found out weren't awesome after the first tenants moved out, but that's just the way it is. Things will never be the same. I couldn't resist it. But yeah, that's just how things happen, and we have to be prepared for that. And as long as we're mentally prepared for stuff like that to happen, then everything's fine. And it's working out fine. People are paying for our mortgage, and we can pay for rent out here. And it leaves us open to potentially buy something here, or rent another place. Maybe rent a townhome or something instead of an apartment. Let's see. Let me look at my list here. So freelance updates. So, I think I mentioned, I don't remember anymore, but I think I mentioned in my previous videos that I was doing like the marketing content, going and shooting photos and videos for the orthopedic clinic in Columbia, in Missouri. I'm still doing that, and I live in Colorado. So I just I go back whenever they need me. So, every couple months, few months, just depending on what they need. But I also picked up doing some social media content, specifically, like, we're getting into, making like TikToks and stuff, because they need to try to appeal to a younger audience instead of the older audience, which there's nothing wrong with the older audience, but they're just trying to grow on social media, and it's going to have to be the younger audience because the older audience, a lot of the ones that are their target market are probably not very active on social media. So we're trying to hit some of the younger market. So that's a new thing. They started a podcast. So I'm doing their podcast producing, whatever you want to call it, where I basically do the edits and I post it to podcasting platform and YouTube and all that good stuff. And then I make social media content from that. So that's all the stuff I'm doing for them. So that keeps me pretty busy, And then out here, I've been doing some real estate photography, and I just did some drone stuff a couple days ago, and that was pretty fun. It's just cool just being able to drive around and see the different towns and just kind of explore and go out and take your time and make probably more money than you should be per hour doing it. But it's so yeah, if you're a photographer or a drone person or whatever, and you're not in real estate, then that's a good one. So maybe look into that in your market. And I also do little kind of construction adjacent work. I think I said, again, on a previous video, I think I mentioned something about doing blinds at apartment complexes. So I have a blinds contract coming up. So, maybe I'll shoot a little bit of video for that just so you can see what that's like, and I can see it later in a couple of years. I can be like, I don't do blinds anymore. Let's go back and look at the blinds video. And then we also have this big contract, which is I have to go and repair all of the railings on the balconies of this complex out here. And it's going to be a long one. So maybe I'll shoot some video for that. I don't know if I should or not, but maybe I will. So that's most of what I'm doing right now. And outside of just straight up this is what I'm doing for money, I also have a running enrichment list of things that I want to accomplish. And one of them that I just recently accomplished was writing a children's book. So it's a book that I had an idea for it, and I kind of workshopped it and I tweaked it, wrote it out and tweaked it until it kind of gave the message I was looking for. And I used AI to help me with the art on it because I have a weird thing where I can envision what I want in my head, but I can't, for some reason, when it comes down to the point where I have to draw it, and I can draw. I'm decent at drawing, right? But for some reason, there's a disconnect between my brain and whenever I'm putting it down on paper or on the iPad or whatever. So it's for some reason, I can picture things really well, but I lose the picture as soon as I try to make it real. But anyway, so I used AI, and I had to figure out how to do the right prompts for it to give me the right results. So anyway, I have it right over here. Let's show this. Look at that bad boy. It's called The Leaf in the River, and it's very thin. It's only 30-something pages, but it's kind of Taoist. So if you know anything about that, then you'll be like, oh yeah, duh, go with the flow, man. And that's kind of what it's about. And so it has a fun little story to go along with the philosophy, So that was really cool. And there was actually I don't know, I just put it on social media just so I could document, that I did this thing finally. And I had 20 people that bought the book, and then they read it to their kids, and their kids were excited about it, and they sent me videos of their kids and whatever. And I would post it on here, but I don't want to post somebody else's children on my YouTube, so I'm not going to do that. You'll just have to take my word for it. But it was cute, and it was endearing, and it was sweet, and it's just wild that something that I made, someone else is enjoying and sharing. So really cool. I also, now I've stalled on this, but I was also learning, I was doing some, was it Coursera? I almost said Udemy, but it was Coursera classes on Google Ads and social media marketing and all this stuff. And I'm I'm over halfway through, and then I just kind of stopped. So I'm gonna have to jump back on that. But it comes with real credentials. So once I finish this program, which I could probably finish in a month if I would just do it, I could get a job if I wanted to just from these credentials, like it's a professional certificate, and people will hire based on people having this certificate, which is cool. So that's a cool thing, learning that. I've done some little social media kind of videos for like cooking and, just being a goofball like I am. Also, we've been kind of exploring out here, and I was like, I don't know, what if I just like take a little video of the places that we go and post it online? And nobody has seen these because I'd started these pages fresh. So, nobody's seeing them, but it's just a fun, enriching thing to do. Make a piece of content that goes along with, an experience. So you can have the experience and you can have the thing that documents it, which is cool. And me and my buddy out here, we are starting another movie podcast. Like, I know everyone has a movie podcast where they do reviews and whatever, but I don't care. It's fun. It's fun to talk about movies. It's fun to go watch movies. It's fun to go to the theater. It's fun to watch movies at home. It's fun to talk about them. I already said that, I think. But it's fun to talk about them. And so we're going to do it. And again, nobody's going to listen, but it'll give us something that is just like a fun thing to look forward to every month or every week, depending on how many he wants to do or how often we go to the theater or whatever. So yeah. Another white guy with a podcast. I get it. But so what? Just, it's fun. I enjoy it. So anyway, that's enough on that topic. So what else? How has Colorado been? I wrote that down word for word. It's been awesome. I really enjoy that there's not really much humidity out here. I like waking up and going outside and seeing mountains in the distance. It's pretty. The people that live out here will tell you that the food scene isn't very good. But I can tell you, I found some good places to eat out here too. So I've enjoyed all of it. Now, I'm not a picky eater, and I'm not a critical, I don't know what to call it. I'm not a food critic. So I'm not trying to like beat anybody up if they didn't do this with this perfect technique, or if it wasn't perfectly cooked, or if it was a little too salty or whatever. So if it's good, it's good. And I've had a lot of good food out here. And so I'm excited to find more good food. I've been going to coffee shops to do editing, which is like a thing that I've always wanted to do, and I didn't do much when I was in St. Louis, even though there were a handful of pretty cool places to do that, really cool coffee shops. But it always felt like it was really out of the way for some reason. Out here, it doesn't feel that way. So I do enjoy going to the coffee shops out here and just getting some work done. And with that said, if you are somebody who does a lot of editing and you don't know about this feature, which you probably do, but if you don't, so I don't even know what year it is now, probably a 2021, maybe, MacBook Pro. And I have this really old iPad Pro, like the oldest iPad Pro. And there's this feature on there called Sidecar, and it didn't work very well. So basically it's like a secondary monitor that's wireless, and there's almost no lag time or whatever they call that. What is that called? Almost no lag time is the only thing I can think of right now. Whatever. I'll think of the word later. But anyway, so that old iPad did not work very well. It would just disconnect. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a new iPad and I'm going to see if Sidecar works better, because when I go to these coffee shops, I have a really compact setup, really high quality. I know that there's going to be people that are like, the color science is off, man. Like, iPads aren't good to use as like a reference, man. Whatever. You do you. I like it. I think it looks good. It's sharp. It's got good colors. Probably not perfectly accurate colors, but I like it. And this new iPad works perfectly. It's better than I was hoping for. So I have this really compact setup that I can go, and everything's wireless and everything has its own battery. And I can work on that thing for a couple hours easy, editing, and use it as a secondary monitor. And it really helps my workflow on editing, which is really awesome. And I've been learning CapCut. I know I'm years behind, but I've been learning CapCut to do these like TikToks for the orthopedic clinic. And I've been doing the editing on the iPad, and it's been great. It's like doing it on a phone, but a lot bigger. you can see it better, and it's easier to make cuts and, you know, all that stuff. So all in all, that's been wicked. So I've been really enjoying that. But anyway, this is just purely an update video, and I just wanted to, I don't know, I bought this camera, the Pocket 3, which I thought, it feels like it was like a year ago, but it was like 3 years ago now. I bought this thing, and I don't know, 2 or 3, probably 3 years ago. And I barely used it. And it came with this wireless mic. It just came with it, and I just haven't been using it. And I'm going to use it now. And I'm going to use it for this YouTube channel, and I'm going to use it for my social media, and I'm going to make stuff. I just want to make stuff. And I'm not worried about whether people care about it. I hope they do, because that's a nice bonus. If they're like, wow, this is cool. I'm really glad you made that. Thanks, that was helpful. Or, you know, whatever. Part of me doesn't want it to get too successful, because then I just have to like read all these troll comments, you know. But that's a good sign, you know. If people start trolling you, then that means that people are paying attention. So I don't know. Maybe I do want trolls. But anyway, let's call it. Good episode, Drew. You did a great job. You filled yourself in, your future self in on everything that's happening, and you hopefully are going to continue to do that. So awesome. All right, well, thanks. Bye.